Hello, here I am going to repair this CD-ROM for the PC Engine or TurboGrafx. I'll be using a optical pickup or laser from this Sony Discman. Now this one is a model D-22 and this is her CD-ROM for a PC Engine. Now before we get started, I'm going to show you what is the malfunction that I'm seeing with this and what caused it. So I'm going to power it up and see if I could get some light into the window here so you can see what's going on. Power it up. So you see that is trying to kick on, but it won't. Now I've done a lot of tests and it is not the problem with the motor. The gear has been swapped out in this unit, so that part is working. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and take the disc out, and you'll see that it's actually in its home position to activate the spindle. Now, what had happened is when I was doing some work, I had put a capacitor in a different unit that was too large and gone the way of the pickup when it was traversing on its sled, and it made the clicks because it's slipping on its worm gear. And I took it apart and I forgot to pull something out, one of those ribbon cables, and little did I know that I tore it. Now, to demonstrate a couple other things to make it obvious, or at least give you a clue if you have the same problem for some strange reason, why your disc is not spinning. So let's go ahead and push over this closed door switch. I'm going to turn it back on. You can see that the laser is actually going in and out trying to focus on something. Now, in order for the command for the spindle to spin the disc, you can see that it's actually kicking the spindle motor first, and then it's trying to read the disc, see if there's a disc there. Now, if it doesn't read the disc, it will not send another command to turn the spindle. Chances are, if you've taken this apart already, or someone else has, they either forgot to reconnect those two ribbon cables. I think one is a 6 and one's a 4. I'll have to count later. But they might have torn those two things. The one of them, more of the conductors on it, is actually responsible for feeding information into the CD unit from the laser pickup. That's the one I tore. Before I break into this to do the whole replacement, I've done it several times, and I've actually reassembled this so you can see how it's disassembled later. So I kind of want to do this later. Now, what I have not done yet is this one. I have not taken this apart yet, and this is the first time I've ever seen this unit, so we're going to do that together. I know there's going to be a couple tools I'm going to need. I have my number 1 Phillips here, and I believe a double aught. This is not necessarily a double aught. It's a JIS 00, so JIS double aught, but we're going to need this for later possibly. I'm not too certain. So we're going to take this apart together. So these screws, as you can see here, they're kind of small, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of those. So as I'm taking this apart, you might be wondering, because you're probably trying to fix your CD-ROM for your PC Engine, what could cause it to fail? Well, capacitors could be aging, that's one. That's one common failure. And the other common failure will be the gear that's inside. That's actually every PC Engine CD-ROM that I pick up, even a TurboGrafx type. That's actually what I'm finding. There's something here. That's what I'm finding is the issue. However, this one unit, I can't remember which one it was. The very first one I got happens to be this one. I actually needed its capacitors replaced. Which ones there are, I can't really say. Because what will happen is that the disc will spin and it will have trouble reading until it warms up, and then it will get better as time goes. Now what's going on here? Why is this not pulling off? I've been doing... Alright, let's go ahead and get rid of this and see, maybe it will break free. One more. Can't quite... There it is. So you will need a double aught or double zero screwdriver. See if that did. Yeah, that is it. So you just need one screw removed. Alright, so we're in the underparts. See if there's any screws I need to remove here. So I see 1, 2. Alright, so that screw had a arrow on it. See that arrow there? If this failed, I see right here, which usually looks like the tails of an electrolytic capacitor. Not quite. So something is holding in place around here. Right here. See that? That's holding in place. There we go. I'm on the edge of my seat. Alright. So you take up the main board. And oh yeah, that's right. So we have, just like in the PC Engine, you'll see later, you have all these ribbon cables, and I really don't want to damage this any further. So see this one, I'm going to pull this one out. It's different than the PC Engine. Alright, so we're going to use our fingernails and pull it out like that. And typically you're going to see these holes right here. Now I'm going to make sure real quick that this is all the way out, because I don't want to yank on this and then have to buy another CD-Rom unit. Alright. Now I have a pair of tweezers that are very thin pointed, almost where you could actually impale yourself with it. So I have to find those real quick. There they are. Alright, so we're going to use those holes that are reinforced to pull this out gently. Come on. It's coming out. There we go. Alright, here, see if this is the same thing or if I could just pull them out. So this does not look like it has a latch on it. See if I could gently pull this out real quick. And it is coming out. There you go. So we have all these wires that are going to various places. One of them is going to be the power supply, which is some batteries, and probably going to the DC, which is in the back. Yep. Well, no, that's soldered to the board. So we're pulling this. So you have a ribbon cable here for the display. I don't know if that's something I could just pull out. Also, you have a wire that's soldered right here. Let's see if it goes right through. Does not look like it goes right through. So we're going to warm up our soldering iron and desolder that wire. There we go. What else? So maybe, yep, there we go. It pulls right out. Alright, so we expose the underside of this. So we're going to have to remove this whole tray here. Now as you can see here, it's inverted for you, and it's inverted for me as well. KSS-220A, which is good. I thought this was going to be a different part number. So how did I find out what CD-Rom drive or CD-ROM that I could use that has its parts? I'll use Copilot, and that's a, what's it called? AI assisted web search kind of deal. It did not tell me. It told me at first to get this unit, then later it tells me not to because it's not the right part. So imagine my frustration when I'm trying to get the truth out of it. So just to give you an awareness of, this was kind of a risk for me. So like I said before, I have not taken this apart, but this will have to come up, and there's a piece of tape on it. Try to make sure I don't yank on this where I damage it and I can't use it anymore. Alright, good. Wait, can I just lift this up first? Alright, as we're about to lift this, let's go ahead and disconnect the motor drive. Excuse me, the spindle motor. This is a sled motor, is this, and this is the spindle motor. So take note of that. Let's go ahead and zoom in just so for you and I's reference. So you can see here that you have a plus 5 volt, negative 5 volt. I don't know what that means. C and plus C, who knows? I know that is for the spindle motor. Whoa. Let's get some flux on there, just clean that up real quick. Why am I doing this? Just to, because you saw how that solder's kind of did its own thing. I need to make it behave. Alright, so we got disconnected that. And these blue wires right here, this is the a switch that's connected right here. I'll show you in a minute. That tells the drive when when the pickup has returned home. So it's right now closed. So I'm going to go ahead and detach that. So there doesn't appear to be any polarities, just open or closed. So let's solder that. So I remove from L5, and then L5 right here, another L5. Alright, so that is almost free. We're also going to just solder these wires that appear to be going to the battery unit. That's free. Let's look on the bottom, see where this thing might have failed. I did say somewhere here I noticed there was something wrong with, there it is right there. See that? See if I could trace it. So it's possible that this capacitor right here failed. Inoperable after this. Alright, so where are we? So I already unscrewed the shock absorbers here. So it is relatively free. See what else is stuck. Oh, so on the other side of this, the way these things work is to keep it steady. Oh, there it is. This is a magnet here, and it attaches this. So when a disc is on it, it places the magnet on top and it keeps it stable from moving around. So essentially, once it closes, this thing's actually floating inside the lid. So I got the pickup out, the entire sled unit. So as we're here, we got to go ahead and make sure that this is free. This one and this one as well. So let's go ahead and remove this tape. carefully. There we go. That's free. And let's see what's going on here. This looks like that they took some goop. Or no, they melted the plastic. So I'm going to have to maybe use my finger. No, it's going to have to use flush cutters for this one. Make sure we don't damage the ribbon cable. So I'm going to put it underneath and lift a little bit, leverage it. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to have to go ahead and snip. Now, if you are repairing a unit like this, you could just probably use some tape on that, or some hot glue. This would have been a perfect candidate for hot glue. I know some people see it and they're like, hot glue, but there are some places for it. Alright. And like that, we're free. So I want you to make reference of this part of the cable right here. Let's flip it over. So you see this tray shield? This is actually this is also an RF shield. And I'll show you why I think that in a minute. Actually, let's see here. I don't see any solder points on this one. So on the PC Engine, this serves as a RF shield as well. I'm going to save these screws because I lost one for the other one. You'll see where. Alright, let's see. Typically, okay, so there is a piece of tape here that's actually holding the shield in place. I'm going to go ahead and remove that because I might be using it later. Alright, so that comes up. There it is. So that's the soldering point I was talking about. So let's see what that's hooked up to. Nothing. Oh, so that was actually soldered to that one point I removed earlier. Right there. It was soldered right here. It's that shield. And that's a grounding point, I'm pretty sure. Interesting. So you see right here, some kind of substance was inside causing corrosion. Makes me wonder. So that was like that. And then it might be the gear drives. So that is your worm gear drive. And then let's see here. So everything looks good here. So that's not why it failed. Although that's not why we thought it failed. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to move this all the way back because it needs to swing out in a minute. Yeah, that's kind of nice. Alright. Now we need to disconnect this. So you see this is a oblong hole. We're going to push it. Ooh. That, okay. This needs to come up. I think this is also a shield for this ribbon cable. Alright, so that came out. See how it's kind of in there? It's not really in there like taped or anything. So I need to carefully pull that out. Come on. I don't want to force this too much. So we're going to have to take this tape off in a minute. I am not wanting to force this. So let's see what I could do here. to go ahead and try to deform this a little bit. There we go. I don't think I need to do that. Take note of that. So right here, I need to pull this bar out in order to scratch that. Well, I'm gonna have to pull that bar out anyway. So what you could do is push this aside and push this out. So I'm already noticing things I'm gonna have to do more work than expected. And if you ever taken apart a PC Engine CD-Rom drive, the CD-Rom, you'll notice that everything looks good with this unit right about here. This is not found in the CD-Rom. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna put this aside. Now we're gonna bust into this bad boy. Zoom out. Make sure it's clear. Now these don't have the same screws, as you can see. It's actually made of more plastic than the other one. So I have my double aught, but you could use your #1 Phillips, which I'm going to go pull out. Oh, I forgot. So sometimes these units, screws are captured, which means you'll try to pull them out and they'll resist you. They'll just stay in the lid. Some of these units will actually have the heat shield soldered, wire soldered to the heat shield. This one does not. And on the TurboGrafx CD-ROM, it is in fact soldered. There is one screw holding the bottom of this right here. One single screw, that's all it needs. Alright, so we're here, we're going to flip it on this side. Things are going to start looking familiar from the CD player, such as right here. And you can see, I'm going to show you where I tore it, and this is probably why it's most likely the reason why it's not working. I know it's the reason why. When you yank on this, you see that crease in the fold there. That's where it tore, and that's why it's not reading anymore. So you see this latch right here, we're going to push it up. You could use like a flat blade screwdriver, or my tweezers are hidden underneath stuff. You could use the flat part of my tweezers, put there. You twist it maybe? Yeah, maybe. I like using my fingernails though. Alright, it's not done yet. Push it up. Alright. So you could use your fingers, or you see those holes there. I know it's broken, but I need to practice. Where there? I'm trying to find my other tweezers. Did it fall? I got all these parts just there. We are. It may not be the same ones, but do the trick. Take these, pull it out here. Just kind of rock it out, just gently. Alright. We're going to rotate it to the right. And we have this bad boy here. Same thing, we're going to pop this out. See those holes there? Take your tweezers. Or if you want, use your fingers. I'm going to demonstrate that. You got to pull up, and it's easy. Alright, so you're on this part. Zoom out. See the back side? We're going to open it like this. Now we're going to identify some parts to kind of make it easy. Here's your display and control panel right here. Of course, your motherboard. And there is some, you can't see it in here, but it's main PWB. That's the main motherboard for this. a bunch of capacitors. If you're opening up one that's never been opened before, the capacitors are going to be different. They're going to be shorter, and they're not laying down. If you're doing the capacitor work on this, I might do that video later, but be aware, a lot of the areas here need to be clear. These need to not be standing up. They need to be laying down or short. Same thing here. Most likely the reason why, if your CD-ROM is marginally working, these capacitors might be the problem right here. There's a website you go to. I'll probably post it or put it in captions later. But we're not here for that. We're here for this. So a couple of things I want to make you aware before I begin. This is supposed to be like this. And we'll secure this later. But there should be a piece of tape right. Should be a piece of tape right here. Let's move this around first. That should be holding that in place just to assist when reassembling it. There might have been a piece of tape here, but we're going to place something there once we get all out. So where do you go from here? First, we're going to desolder or disconnect some parts here. So let's make references here. See these blue and magenta? Kind of magenta pink. We're going to pull that out because we're going to have to remove the entire unit, and it's going to assist us later. Alright, one more. So we got an orange and a yellow here. It's kind of hidden, so we're going to pull that as well. I'm using my fingernails to assist with that. So got those free. Also, we got two wires here. We got the grounding wire for the top tray RF shield. Heat that up and make it free. And that's going to point number 3. And then we have this ribbon cable RF shield. Now this piece of copper adhesive is important, but it is not actually connected to any of the conductors within it. It's serving as a RF shield. So we're going to carefully take that off. There you go. So this is not completely free yet. I'm not worried about it. Now we have the spindle motor power. We're going to go ahead and desolder those because we're going to have to remove the entire unit, the entire sled tray out. That's what I'm going to call it. It might be called something else. Alright, so that's free. We're going to start having a lot of screws out here. I want to make sure that I don't intermingle things that don't match. So I removed 4 screws in the bottom, but right now it's being held captive by the lid. It may not be the same for you. They may not be captive, they may be falling, and you're going to have to put those in its place. And I removed 1 more screw from the bottom of the motherboard. So make sure we find that later. Next ones we remove is going to be the shock absorbers for the CD-ROM tray. Let's zoom out. Now note when you take these out, there's going to be some collars inside of them. They're actual spacers that prevents anyone assembling it, reassembling it from torquing it too far down. So if I could just figure out where I just had them. Needle nose pliers. It's under here. So we're going to remove those so it doesn't go somewhere else. Put those aside. Your number 1 screwdriver might work on this. So I'm using right here. You might have to use the JIS or the double aught. This one might have to stay for a little bit. Alright, so what I do usually, I open up the lid from the bottom to detach the magnet. Then I could lift from let's take the whole thing out. There we go. So that collar just almost went away. Now you're probably asking, are there collars in this other one? And there are not. There's actually springs. Not that I could see. So this is a little bit different in design. So we're going to put the rest of this aside. So there's your pickup. Just make sure you... we're replacing this one, but still, maybe someone else can repair it. Put that aside. We're going to put this here. So like I said, I'm missing a screw here. I dropped it and I couldn't find it. So remove the tray. Not the tray, but the shield here. Alright, so what you're going to have are two clip points, but if you lift it up like this, it should be free. Oh, there you go. Alright. So you saw in the previous sled tray that we have to remove this bar. In this case, it is actually underneath, not underneath, but there's some screws holding it in instead of some flexible piece of plastic. However, to get to this screw, you're going to have to remove the motor. And that's where this is very important. It needs to be able to get in these holes, actually, to get to the screws underneath. So they're actually going to be in there for a little bit. Oh, also, before we do that, we're going to have to move this all the way down. Maybe not all the way down, but quite a bit of ways. So I'm spinning this gear that I replaced a while back. Spinning it that way, and moving it. It's clear enough there. Let's get this other screw here. See that right there? Kind of doing this blind. There it is. Alright, so once it's free, it should move that way. And I might... Okay, so I'm going to have to move this further. As a matter of fact, I don't think I have even had to go that far. I have to access that. But I'm going to move it anyway, because there's something I forgot to do before I got this far. Is it ready? Okay, so it's ready to leave. So remember the orientation of these wires, they need to be coming out this way for reassembly. I've actually had to take this motor out again and rotate it because the orientation of the wires are incorrect. So one thing I forgot to do is free this cable here. So we're going to take this piece of metal, we're going to push it down. See right there, there's a hole that's oblong or whatever. It's going to carefully push it down. There we go. That comes right out like that. So we just put this aside. Let's pull this out. There you go. And when this comes out, this is actually adhered a small little bit of like glue or something to the tray there. That way it doesn't fold up where it shouldn't, especially when it comes all the way up or all the way down. So what we're going to do, we're going to, oh yeah, don't forget there was a screw there, so it fell somewhere. Go ahead and take that out. Had a magnet here, but it went somewhere. Got stuck on something. Okay. So that's one screw. Where's the other one? I see it. Actually, There it is. Don't lose your screws. Alright, so we're going to remove one screw. Put this aside. And we're going to loosen another. Don't need to remove that all the way. We're going to gently push up and draw this out. Sometimes you'll actually have some residual stuff here that's actually keeping it from going, but it should just come right out. You may have to clean it off first as it's coming through. Alright, flip it back over. You're going to carefully pull this. Like I said, it's glued. So now nothing is holding it here. You could pull that out. I'm going to carefully peel it off the tray. There we go. And here we have our pickup, the one with the broken ribbon cable. I'm going to leave this here, but we're going to come back to that. But what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to remove this assembly here and put it on the other one. So let's take a look at it before we do everything. I'm willing to bet that the screws we have to remove is these tiny ones, not the one on top, but the small ones down there. Place this here. It's good to have a magnetic screwdriver most of the time. So we're gonna have to keep this. This we're going to put aside. And we have this one. So we have two screws here. I think we need to remove those, right? There we go. Now we're going to take this and place it back on. I believe is right there. And see that little hook that keeps it in place? It looks like that's where it's supposed to be. Now there's a little bit of residual junk here. I could probably take this opportunity to scrape it off. That's just old grease from not before I was born, but pretty close to right around I was born. Does it have a year on these things? Nah, I'm not gonna look right now. So you can tell if you look at this that these are tiny plastic teeth, and they're designed to give, and you have a little leaf spring here, they're designed to give whenever it doesn't want to move, so it doesn't damage itself. All you gotta do is figure out what the fault is. Alright, we're gonna place that on top there for now. We're gonna locate those screws I removed. Can I use other screws? I don't know. I don't think so. What we'll do here, we'll put this one in first. Then we'll try the other ones. So the plastic appears to be thicker on this one than on the white one here. And I like the fact that it has Loctite on it. Now the question is, will it over protrude here? It kind of does actually. Because what this has to do, it has to go up and down. But you have other things protruding, like right here, that's the little extension for the home button. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and put the other screw in there because I kind of like that better. I like it has Loctite on it. So I'm not going to worry about it protruding too much. Maybe I can use these screws for something else. Picked up more than I needed. There we go. Alright, so that's back on. Go rotate this back, and it has to go like this, so this has to return. So at this point, this is where we're going to have to remove this adhesive. You know what we could do while we have this disassembled? Actually, we'll wait. Alright, so we got this. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this back in. Duh. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to make it high right about here. Now this has to come in like that, like I showed before. Put that there. And we're going to place the adhesive part where it needs to be, or the ribbon on the adhesive part, because it needs to be in there a certain way. So we're going to try to flatten that out. So let's do this first. Put the peg in the hole. And then that metal plate, remember? Put that on. Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to move it to the side for a sec. Just so I could get this in. So you see that plate needs to go in, pulls it down. Make sure that you're matching the hole with the peg, which it keeps coming out. There it is. There it is. So that has to be up against. So the ribbon has to be up against that, just to make sure it's nice and square. Push it up. It's in. I'm going to use the back side of my tweezers to kind of tap into place. But it looks like it's already where it needs to be. We're going to, you can see that, we're going to put it back onto the worm drive on that plastic, don't know what to call it. Alright, so it's now loose. We're going to take our sled rod. I don't have a paper towel with me, so if you have a paper towel, I would recommend wiping that down before putting it in. So that came out. Like I said, you need to make this high because it's just going to be easier for later. Be careful not to touch the pickup. Put it in there. There we go. Line it. Alright, there we go. So we can find that screw that we had before. It's kind of a flat head. Just put that in. What's up? Okay. Alright, so that's installed. We got to put the motor back in. So what's easiest to do is to actually place the screws in the holes first. Something is in the way now. What is that? Didn't get it, did I? And put it in first. Then we're going to orientate the wires towards the left, because that's where it needs to be resoldered later. So go ahead, and once you find where it needs to be in, give it a few twists on that side, and then on the other side, make sure you find the hole. It's going to be hard, so you have to do it by feel. Alright, there we go. So once you got that secured, do the other side. Make sure you don't forget. Alright. So that's pretty much reassembled here. I did talk about, make sure I put this where it's not going to hurt it, this right here. So it needs to be in this orientation. So when I take this off and put it back on, it needs to be on the underneath. Just go ahead and peel this off. I'm talking about this right here if you didn't see it. So carefully peel it off. Then we're going to put on this guy. So I'm going to start at the very edge right here because there's some metal over there that could help. Oh, whoa, it's not sticking. There we go. It is not sticking the way I thought it would. There we go. Give it a nice pinch. Maybe that's going to do it. Alright, let's get this out of the way. So what we're going to need to do, either it could plug this in and it's going to draw the spindle back, which I'm going to do, or you could do it manually by your fingers. So which way do I want to go? Before you do that, let's go ahead and put the shield back on. And there you are. So you gotta make sure that this is actually fitting here. So a little notch here that needs to fit on. There we go. Right here too. So put a screw right there to hold in place. Let's find my screwdriver. And the screw that was there before. So I have a flat screw here. Make sure it's in there correctly. And you gotta make sure that this is in far enough, because what will happen is that the shield will actually raise up and possibly make contact with the CD. So I'm going to use one of the screws from the CD-Rom drive to secure this because I don't have another one. It's going to be mismatched, I know. And it is protruding slightly, so I wonder about that. So this may not work. Oh, it's because it's too high. So what you want to do is press down a little bit to make sure it's nice and flush. This one as well. You could go down a little bit further. But you don't want to go too far because you're just screwing into plastic. There's not much give. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to place this right back into oh, I just pushed that up. I forgot that actually has a mechanism to prevent it from breaking. We're going to bring this back here and start reassembling partially. So, like I said before, you're going to have to open it up because that magnet's going to get in the way. And it's going to slip. See this right here? Let me touch my finger. It's going to be in between the shield and the tray. There it goes. Then close it back up. It'll keep it secured a little bit. So we're going to plug this in. Remember this being down here. And this, where's the other one? The motor power is going to be right here. Alright, power it up. And this should start rolling backwards, back to home. And once it does, the spindle motor will switch. So the main power button's right, not the power button, but the play button's there. There we go. Ooh, do you know what? It's a good opportunity to put a little bit of lubrication, because I did strip it of its lubricant. There it is. So what I have here is some liquid rescue. There's another one called liquid bearings. That's actually what I wanted to get, but I got this instead. But this works pretty good. So put some lube right there on the worm drive right there. I read somewhere you're not supposed to put lubrication on the gears, which I have already, which too late now, right? All right. There it goes. All right. So unplug that. So now I have to, at this moment, route this. So the way it has to route is like this. Comes up, around. Zoom in a little bit. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I have too much junk here. So hopefully I didn't break anything. See that right there? So remember that. It's up around, and it's actually going to fit. See if I could get a little bit. There's a little opening right here. This is actually where this needs to be. With the collars inside. Now this is going to be a little tough in a way. Put them all in there, because what will happen is that as you're putting the screw in, it's actually going to catch right there. It's going to be hard to get in lined up, but you got to make sure that you put it in perpendicular. The screw is perpendicular to the surface, or else they're going to bust those holes open. A good sign, and we're going to do this later, is that you take a audio CD or maybe even your PC Engine CDs, and you have to run the audio tracks. I mean, first sign it looks that everything's working is when you actually get to track 1, where it warns you not to proceed because it's going to damage your audio equipment. Alright, so this is how it needs to be. It needs to come up, and remember that port was right there, so it needs to come up and back like this. And when I put this on, you're going to see me struggle. So we're going to leave it there for now. This one has to be twisted with these contacts, these metallic parts facing outward, away from the unit. This one inward, this one outward. So just keep that in mind. Alright, now we got to resolder everything back on. And we're seeing this coming off already. Might be able to use some heat on that though. Yeah, that worked way better than I thought it would. Just heat up the copper and it's on. Okay. You remember where that's hooked up, number 3, number 4. You have to reference my video. Alright, so the main shield is number 4. So this tray cover. But right now, I don't know if you see that solder's coming in peak, so I'm going to have to hit it with some flux. Some flux there. Flux right there, just to make sure. Alright, so number 4, we're going to do that real quick. We have to use my right hand for this. And some tweezers, because right now I'm having trouble seeing what I'm doing. Something just came off of that. I have to get that later. Alright, that's all you need on that. Next one's going to be on this one. So what I'm going to need to do is get something to force that to lay down. Not my tweezers, maybe my screwdriver? There you go. Zoom out a little bit so you can see. So I got that ribbon to lay down for me. And then, let's see, do I need tweezers on this one? Let's use them anyway. Get a little bit of stretch. Now you don't want to overheat this because it's on a thin piece of ribbon cable, just enough. Alright, nice and shiny, and it's adhered to. Okay, got that connected. Now next is the power for the motor, the spindle motor. Now they're clearly marked. Just gonna make sure I keep this out of the way. See if I have any tools here to do that with. Okay, that's good enough. Tweezers. So red and black. What do you do first? Let's do black first since it's right there. Make sure I don't burn the other wires. Okay, so that's black. There's red. Okay, I'm not doing it right because I'm actually touching the insulation. There you go. There is it. Alright, let's talk about Captain tape, or taping this. Like I said before, there's a couple places you want to tape just to keep in place. Like right here, where that ribbon cable is. This will, can't see, can you? This has to be in this location. So if you could get this, tape this portion right here and secure it onto the side, that'd be awesome because you'll be dealing with this. And also you're going to be placing the tape on top of right here, keeping this wires and also the ribbon in place. So we can try to get this back in its spot. So you're going to see me struggle a little bit putting everything back together. These wires should be right here. They should all bundled up down here. I will just be nice and neat, and we'll just keep in place. So this right here could actually rotate. Am I going to rotate it? I kind of don't want to. Is it hard? Maybe not. But you can actually rotate, and those wires could go in here instead. So we're just going to bundle it up there right now. It's actually not going where I want it to go. So we're going to have to figure that out later. And this is the same thing. It's coming free. So we're going to have to somehow get this all situated. It's working. It's just not coming out for some reason. There we go. Just put a little dab, not much. Get the rest of this out. Doesn't need to be here. Alright, there in the problem spot. Wish there's a way to just cut this off. Now this one is all over the place. Let's go over here. Something, there it is. Start reassembling. Lost a screw. So I don't know if you can see, I actually have it kind of the board coming up because I'm preparing for final assembly. Just securing things so they stay in place. And I don't want to put too much because I might have to take this apart again, and I want to be able to just like detach things. So that's in place. Alright, so these over here needs to come out. Ooh, that just fell. No big deal. Again, Captain tape would have been better, but I don't have it. Ooh, I don't have it with me right now. It's hot. It's burning me. Okay, that's solid, that's solid. Alright, now for this guy. So now it's secure. I can place it where I need it. And it's right there. That's all I need right there. Gosh darn it. It's not, I might just be struggling with this, but there is a spot here. You can see there's a little notch specifically for it right there. That ribbon cable needs to be there for later. Just a nice spot for it to sit and rest. But let's get that in there just so it's not in the way later. There you go. Alright, so I got that. It's not secured. It fell, that's why. Got those kind of secured. Let's go ahead and close it up. So let's see. The first one I think I should do is the one that I have the most length on. It's this one right here. So that just came out where I didn't want to come out, but not a big deal. So we're going to go ahead and place that in. Now what you could do, you could take your thumb and forefinger and just kind of press it in while you're holding in place. And there you go. Now this guy, like I said, you have to have these facing out. So you're going to have to rotate about 180 degrees or clockwise, just clockwise. And I'll do it. Going to have to insert that. There we go. Make sure this is all the way out first. Take your sharp tweezers. You're going to press it in until those holes get into the top of the slot there. If it's not going, then we'll try something different. There you go. You could try to do the other thing like on the other one, but I think that's good enough right there. Alright. Now remember that one ribbon cable right here, so we're going to have to get that in there where it needs to be. There's something interfering on the other side. I need to figure out what that is. Because that's in there. That is not quite in there. So it's actually sitting on top of those capacitors. Oh, I think I got it. There we go. Alright. Now that one screw, let's put in there. Oh, that was an adventure, if I would say. Alright, a couple things you want to check is make sure that all your wires are kind of clear of the clamshell, so to say. Nothing is impeding it. And that one capacitor that you dropped in there is out. Okay. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to test before you put everything back together. flip it over, it could actually function like this. We're going to grab it. Put in. Play. There you go, spins. And it got number 1. So I'm going to get an audio cable and see if we hear anything. Alright. Now the true test will be when it's already installed into the PC Engine. There are a lot of things you could do if it's not working correctly. Really don't want to get into that because I don't know. There's a website you could go to if I haven't already posted it to give you some guidance on that. But really, the guidance for that should be kind of a last response. If you're having issues to begin with, and if you haven't replaced your capacitors, I would do that first. Do your capacitors first, then start doing other things. So go ahead and put this back on. And find my other screws too. So these are kind of a very coarse thread. They don't take much turns to get them in. And I dropped a screw earlier. All right. So there you have it. One repaired CD-ROM for the PC Engine. Probably could. Looks like there was a sticker here at one point. But yeah. Hopefully that helps anybody that's having issues with this. And if you watch this, thank you. Right now I'm not getting money for this, so it's not like I could say like or subscribe, but if you do subscribe, you'll see other videos of other repairs that I might do down the road, or other video game tips or videos of video games. So, alright, thank you.